Venus is the second planet from the Sun and the closest planet to Earth, which is also known as Earth's sister planet because it is similar in size and mass to Earth. Venus and Earth share many similar physical characteristics. But apart from all these things, in no other way is it like our Earth. It's definitely not habitable. Some unique and extreme features of Venus set it apart from Earth, especially its extreme temperatures and toxic environment which make Venus uninhabitable. So what would happen if someone went to Venus without any preparation? In this video, we will discuss the question of how long a human can survive Venus's harsh conditions without the protection of a spacesuit. So let's find the answer to this interesting question. Friends, before we find out how long we can survive on Venus, we need to understand the planet Venus properly, especially its extreme temperatures which are full of many challenges. Let me tell you, Venus is known for its dense and unforgiving atmosphere. It mainly consists of carbon dioxide, along with traces of sulfuric acid clouds. The atmospheric pressure on Venus is 92 times greater than that of Earth, which is equivalent to the pressure felt at the very bottom of the ocean. This extreme pressure alone is enough to cause serious damage to the human body. The surface conditions on Venus are so harsh that any spacecraft sent to its surface is quickly crushed and melted by the intense pressure and heat. Because of the dense atmosphere, directly observing Venus's surface from space is quite a challenging task. However, radar mapping missions like National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Magellan spacecraft have mapped Venus's surface in great detail. Venus has various types of geological features, including vast volcanic plains, highland areas, and large shield volcanoes. Maxwell Montes is the highest mountain on the planet Venus, reaching an elevation of about 11 kilometers, which is approximately 7 miles. One of the primary factors contributing to the extreme temperatures on Venus is the greenhouse effect. When the dense atmosphere traps the heat from the sun, it creates an uncontrolled greenhouse effect. As a result, even though it is farther from the sun, the surface temperature of Venus reaches up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 475 degrees Celsius, which is much hotter than the surface of Mercury. With the temperature rising to such extreme levels, the melting point of most metals is quickly surpassed. Even metals like lead and zinc, which have high melting points, metals can also turn into liquid on Venus within just a few minutes. This is a significant challenge for any human going to Venus without the protection of a spacesuit. But even spacesuits become ineffective in Venus's harsh environment. So, to understand why this happens, we also need to understand how a spacesuit is constructed, friends. Spacesuits play an important role in space exploration and extravehicular activities like spacewalks. The vacuum of space is filled with several challenges, and that's why a spacesuit is necessary. The materials used in spacesuits are specially designed to withstand the extreme temperatures of space. However, even these heat-resistant materials have some limitations. Without the cooling system and insulation of the spacesuit, a person exposed to the intense heat of Venus would soon suffer from heat stroke and be incinerated. So friends, let's now learn about all the dangers present in Venus's atmosphere. There are dense clouds of sulfuric acid in Venus's atmosphere, which make it highly corrosive. These clouds can pose a serious threat to the skin and respiratory system of any living human. Without proper protection, even a brief encounter with these toxic clouds can cause irreparable damage. What makes Venus's atmosphere even more dangerous is the lack of breathable oxygen. This is another critical factor that makes the surface of Venus even more dangerous without a spacesuit. Let me tell you, Venus's atmosphere is almost completely filled with carbon dioxide, with hardly any other gases present. Because of the absence of oxygen, you start to suffocate on Venus and die instantly. As we told you right at the beginning of the video, on Venus, the extreme atmospheric pressure is equivalent to being deep underwater beneath the surface of the ocean. The human body is not made to withstand this pressure. If we accidentally get caught in that extreme atmospheric pressure of Venus, we would have to endure its devastating effects. The combination of its extreme atmosphere and intense radiation is lethal for humans. Enduring these conditions for a long time has severe effects on the human body. For example, intense radiation causes significant damage to DNA, leading to serious health problems and increasing the risk of cancer. Apart from all these things, Venus's retrograde rotation creates a lot of challenges. Let me tell you, Venus rotates on its axis more slowly and in the opposite direction compared to Earth and the other planets in our solar system. On one hand, Earth rotates in a counterclockwise direction, while Venus rotates in a clockwise direction. The lack of breathable oxygen makes it unsuitable for human life. To explore the wonders of Venus and survive its harsh conditions, humans will need advanced technology and specially designed spacesuits. Until we push the limits of our space probes further, Venus will remain a mysterious and challenging destination for future missions. Friends, Venus is the second brightest object in our night sky after the Moon. If we look at Venus, it appears quite similar to our Earth. And that's why it's also called Earth's sister. According to scientists, Venus also used to have many oceans and rivers just like Earth, and it used to be quite lush and green as well. But what exactly happened here that this lush green planet has now turned into such a terrifying place? What events took place here that completely changed the world of Venus, turning this prosperous planet into the terrifying form it has today? In today's video, we are going to tell you all about this. What exactly happened that changed the face of Venus? If you also want to know about this mysterious and dangerous world of Venus, then make sure to watch this video till the end. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then please subscribe to our channel quickly. Some time ago, we had very little information about Venus. And in such a situation, scientists believed that beneath the thick clouds of Venus, there would be an environment similar to our Earth and life would be flourishing there as well. But at that time, scientists did not know that beneath these thick clouds, Venus is filled with dangerous volcanoes. It has turned into a big hell where the idea of humans surviving is out of the question. Even if a spacecraft reaches here, it would melt within minutes. But from the 1960s to the 1970s, several space missions were launched to study this planet. Through these, a lot of research was done by going near Venus. After that, some pictures of Venus also came out from there, which shocked even the scientists. The Venus that scientists earlier considered to be just like Earth turned out to be something else entirely. When they saw these pictures of Venus, they were also amazed. They saw that volcanoes rule the surface of Venus, and here you can see a large number of volcanoes erupting. In this way, if you look at it, today Venus has taken on a terrifying form. On Venus, there is no rain like on our Earth, but in its upper atmosphere, there is definitely a rain of sulfuric acid. This means that it does rain on Venus, but instead of water, acid falls from the sky, which vaporizes about 25 kilometers above its surface. If a person were to go to the surface of Venus, they would encounter many terrifying phenomena. Research has also revealed that winds on this planet blow at speeds of 350 kilometers per hour, and sometimes this speed even reaches 700 kilometers per hour, which is many times greater than any storm that has ever occurred on Earth. As for volcanoes on Venus, within a radius of 100 kilometers, you can find about 166 volcanoes. Just as our Earth is made up of dust, soil, stones, and rocks, in the same way, the surface of Venus is made up of metal, iron, and dried pieces of rocks that come out from volcanoes. In this way, its surface can be called completely dead land, where the next movement occurs only after volcanic activity. At the same time, scientists also say that there are almost more than 100,000 on Venus. There could be volcanoes, but the special thing is that there are no eruptions in the volcanoes here. But a large amount of lava keeps coming out of them. Meanwhile, studies conducted by scientists have also revealed that there could have been water here billions of years ago. But the amount of carbon dioxide here was so high that the greenhouse effect kept increasing continuously, and today Venus has completely turned into a land of volcanoes. Similarly, if an astronaut goes to the surface of Venus, his weight will be 10% less on Venus compared to Earth. If you weigh 100 kilos on Earth, then on Venus your weight will be 90 kilos. The atmosphere of Venus is covered with several kilometers thick layers of sulfuric acid, and because of this, the surface of Venus cannot even be seen. Its atmosphere contains 90% carbon dioxide, 3% nitrogen, and other dangerous gases like sulfuric acid. If we talk about its temperature, the surface temperature is quite high, meaning this planet is known to be very hot. The surface temperature is about 480 degrees Celsius, which can easily melt anything. If you drop even a piece of glass here, it will melt before it even hits the ground in just a few seconds. On our Earth, carbon dioxide is found at only 0.02%, but if we talk about Venus, carbon dioxide is found here at 96%. In such a situation, you can imagine what the condition of the air must be like on Venus. By the way, in the beginning, the amount of carbon dioxide on Venus was not that high, but some events happened here, because of which the amount of carbon dioxide kept increasing continuously, which changed this planet forever. According to scientists have research has found that about 2 to 3 billion years ago, Venus used to have oceans just like Earth, and there were also plants here. The scientists involved in this research also said that at that time, Venus was likely able to create a good environment with a maximum temperature of 20 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of minus 50 degrees Celsius. And at that time, greenhouse gases like methane, carbon dioxide, and many other toxic gases started to be released on Venus. After that, the climate of Venus changed completely. Once lush and green like Earth, this planet was transformed by the abundance of carbon dioxide gas. Due to the excess of carbon dioxide, the temperature of Venus has reached up to 462 degrees Celsius. And in such a situation, will life be possible there? Life can't exist on Venus, but recently, scientists have found something in their research that has brought some surprising facts to light. Scientists said that even though the surface of Venus is not suitable for life, but there are some things present in the atmosphere of Venus that are similar to the atmosphere of Earth. And to discover this, National Aeronautics and Space Administration is going to launch some missions in the coming time. These missions will go into the atmosphere of Venus and will be able to search for the presence of life there. But even today, the terrifying form of Venus remains a big challenge for scientists. Because we all know that in the atmosphere here, instead of rainwater, acid falls from the sky. But it's not like no mission has ever been sent to Venus. Several missions have been sent before this, but most of them have failed. Today, there is a race among different countries around the world to uncover the mysteries of space. Now, India is also moving ahead rapidly in this space race. After the success of missions sent to study the Moon, Mars, and the Sun, the Indian Space Agency, Indian Space Research Organization, is now preparing to uncover the mysteries of Venus. The chairman of Indian Space Research Organization, S. Somanath, has already announced that India will send a mission to study the atmosphere of Venus and its acidic behavior. After the success of Chandrayaan-3, India's space agency, Indian Space Research Organization, has been praised all over the world. In this situation, India is now preparing for its mission to Venus as well. Indian Space Research Organization Chairman S. Somanath said during a program that the atmospheric pressure on Venus is 100 times greater than that of Earth, but it is not known what causes such high pressure. There is a layer of acid-filled clouds all around Venus, because of which any spacecraft has difficulty passing through Venus's atmosphere. It still cannot reach its surface. That's why we need to do more research about Venus's atmosphere. Friends, we will only be able to learn more about Venus in the future based on scientific research. The night sky is adorned with countless stars, and among them shines a point that tells a story different from the rest. Venus, our planet Shukra, tries unsuccessfully to blend in with those stars in the sky. It's the second planet of our solar system, but its brightness is so intense that it just can't hide among those stars. And our ancestors started calling it the morning and evening star thousands of years ago. But maybe they didn't know what was hidden behind this brightness. A mystery that has amazed humans for hundreds of years. A question that still echoes somewhere in the depths of space. Did Venus ever have a moon, or was it just a mistake that, for some reason, we kept believing was true? The story of Venus is a mystery that takes us into the world of the sky, where every answer hides new questions behind it. Today we know Venus as a toxic planet where it rains sulfuric acid and the heat is so intense that even metal would melt. Today science says that Venus has no moons. Yet there was a time when great astronomers made completely opposite claims. So what is the truth? Where did those claims come from? And if they were true, where is that moon today? The truth behind Venus's brightness. Venus is the second planet in our solar system. Its distance from the sun is about 108 million kilometers. Its size is so similar to Earth that it is sometimes called our twin. Its diameter is 12,104 kilometers, which is just a little less than Earth's 12,742 kilometers. But this similarity is limited only to their size. Venus's atmosphere is filled with about 96% carbon dioxide, and its thick clouds contain droplets of sulfuric acid. These clouds on Venus reflect sunlight so much that Venus becomes the brightest object in the night sky. But beneath this brightness lies a dangerous and mysterious world where the temperature reaches up to 460 degrees Celsius. It's so high that even metals like lead would melt and flow within minutes on its surface. Its atmospheric pressure is 92 times greater than Earth's, which means if a person were to accidentally stand on the surface of Venus, they would be crushed instantly. Venus's surface is covered with volcanoes. Here, scientists have found more than 1,600 volcanic structures, and some scientists believe that volcanic activity is still happening here today. The rotation of Venus is also unique in itself. It rotates in retrograde motion. That means the sun rises in the west here and sets in the east, which is completely opposite from the other planets. But the rotation of Venus is so slow that it takes Venus 243 days to complete one rotation on its axis. But its orbital period around the sun is only 225 days. That means a day here is even longer than a year on Venus. All these features already make Venus a mysterious planet, but the question of its moons takes Venus even deeper into darkness. Today we say that Venus has no moons, but this wasn't always believed to be true. And the first clue of this story comes to us from the 17th century. The first claim comes from Cassini's notes in 1672 from a small town in Italy, Giovanni Domenico. Cassini was scanning the sky with his telescope. Cassini was one of the greatest astronomers of his time. He had observed Saturn's rings in detail. He was the one who discovered its four moons, Iapetus, Rhea, Tethys, and Dione. His eyes could catch every movement in the sky. But that night, when he turned his telescope toward Venus, he saw something that was completely beyond his understanding at the time. Cassini wrote in his notes that there was a small object near Venus, less bright, but it was orbiting with the planet. He declared it to be a moon of Venus. At that time, telescope technology was still in its early stages. Refracting telescopes were used and the quality of the lenses was limited. But still, Cassini was completely confident in his observations according to him. This object was just a little distance away from Venus, maybe a few thousand kilometers, and its brightness was less than the planet. This claim was no small matter. Back then, each new astronomy discovery felt revolutionary, but Cassini was not alone. In the following decades, others also reported seeing something near Venus. In 1686, Jean-Charles Hojef from France also reported an object with a similar description. He said that this object appeared on the edge of Venus and was visible to him for several nights. Then in the 18th century, Johann Heinrich Lambert from Germany made this mystery even deeper. Lambert not only saw this moon but also tried to calculate its orbit. According to him, this moon was orbiting Venus at a certain distance and its orbital period could be a few days. All these claims made the astronomers of that time puzzled. Some believed it to be true and made it a part of the discovery of Venus, but some viewed it with suspicion. Now, science always welcomes criticism and questions. Questions began to arise. If it was a moon, then why didn't everyone see it? And if it was real, then where is it today? So, the next step of this mystery takes us towards science. The reality of Venus's moons changed with time and technology. In the 17th and 18th centuries, telescopes were used, but by the 20th century, spacecraft had arrived. Efforts to understand Venus intensified. The Soviet Union started the Venera program in the 1960s from Venera 1 to Venera 13. All these probes reached the surface of Venus and sent us its pictures. In 1970, Venera 7 was the first spacecraft that landed on the surface of Venus and sent data back to us from there. After that, National Aeronautics and Space Administration also launched the Magellan mission in 1990. Magellan scanned the entire surface of Venus using radar mapping. Its craters, volcanic plains, and tectonic features were also mapped. These missions taught us a lot about Venus. We found out that its magnetic field is very weak. Perhaps because of its slow rotation, the greenhouse effect in its atmosphere is so strong that it doesn't let the heat escape. But one thing these missions made clear was that Venus doesn't have any moons, neither a small satellite nor a large moon. So what did Cassini and others see? Scientists gave several theories for this. The first theory was optical illusion. Telescopes of that time had issues like chromatic aberration and spherical aberration. It's possible that due to Venus's brightness, the reflection of a star or planet appeared in such a way that they thought it was a moon. The second theory that came forward was that maybe it was an asteroid or a comet, which was passing near Venus at that time and was mistakenly thought to be a moon. The third possibility could be that maybe some optical effect occurred due to the clouds in Venus's atmosphere, which created an illusion similar to a moon. But none of these answers was solving every question. If this was an illusion, then how did different astronomers at different times experience the same illusion? And if this was a permanent object, then why haven't we found any record or trace of it till today? This question was pointing towards a new theory. Did Venus really have a moon that disappeared over time, Venus's lost moon? How are moons formed? Our science has three main answers to this. The first is co-accretion, meaning the planet and the moon form together. The second is capture, meaning the planet's gravity grabs an asteroid and turns it into a moon. The third is impact, meaning debris from a big collision comes together to form a moon, as happened in the case of our Earth. But Venus's case is completely different from these. Its retrograde rotation and being so close to the sun, all these things make it difficult for Venus to have a moon. Still, suppose Venus ever had a moon, then where did it go after all? One theory says that the sun's gravitational pull took away Venus's moon because of Venus's closeness to the sun. This brings it under the influence of the sun's tidal forces. It's possible that the moon's orbit became unstable and it got pulled toward the sun. Another theory suggests that maybe it fell into Venus's atmosphere itself, but if that happened, then where is the evidence? Magellan's data has shown more than 1,000 craters on the surface of Venus. But those were formed by volcanic or tectonic activity, not by the impact of a large object. The third possibility suggests that maybe that moon drifted away somewhere else in space. Small bodies in the solar system often escape the gravity of planets. If, due to Venus's slow rotation and unstable gravitational field, that moon drifted out of its orbit, then today it could be in the asteroid belt. It might be wandering somewhere, or it's also possible that it has gone to some outer part of the solar system. But there is no evidence of this found till today. The conditions of Venus also support this theory. Its slow rotation and proximity to the sun make it difficult for any moon to remain in a stable orbit. Some scientists believe that in the early days of the solar system, Venus might have had a moon, but due to tidal forces and dynamical instability, it got lost somewhere, and this is just a hypothesis. But it definitely makes us think that the history of Venus is not as simple as we think. Will we find a moon of Venus in the future? So far, we don't have any solid evidence of moons around Venus, but science never stops. National Aeronautics and Space Administration is Venus Emissivity Radio Science INSAR Topography and Spectroscopy mission. Venus Emissivity Radio Science INSAR Topography and Spectroscopy is set to launch in 2028. This mission will scan the surface and atmosphere of Venus in high resolution. On the other hand, European Space Agency's Envision project will study the geological history and atmospheric composition of Venus from its orbit by 2030. These missions might give us some new clues, maybe a crater or an anomaly that we previously overlooked. Apart from this, some scientists want to study Venus's gravitational field in greater depth. If there really was a moon there, its gravitational effects might still exist today as subtle evidence in Venus's orbit or rotation. This research is still in its early stages, but there is still hope. For now, this mystery of Venus remains an unsolved puzzle. From Cassini's first observation until today, the question remains, was it really a moon or just an illusion? Whatever the truth may be, Venus reminds us that space is still filled with countless unknown mysteries. The debate about Venus's moons was not limited to science alone. In the 17th and 18th centuries, it became a major topic of scientific discussion. At that time, astronomers debated whether every planet should have moons. Earth has one moon, Mars has two moons, and Saturn has many. Seeing all the satellites, some people believed that it was natural for Venus to have a moon. But in the 19th century, excellent telescopes were developed, and we never saw that moon. So this debate gradually died down. Culturally, Venus also had a significant influence. In Roman mythology, Venus was the goddess of love and beauty. Its brightness inspired poets and writers, but the talk of its moons gave people's imaginations a new dimension. In some old books, the moon of Venus was seen as a mysterious world where perhaps an unknown civilization might be hiding. Although this was limited only to the world of imagination, it sparked curiosity about space in the minds of people at that time. There is no end to the mystery. Even today, the brightness of Venus draws us toward it. There are still many questions related to Venus that keep its mystery alive. Was there ever life on Venus? If yes, then where did it go? Such questions about Venus will always make us think. Space is vast, very vast, beyond the limits of our imagination. It is infinite. It is dark and scary, where there is neither air nor pressure. No matter how much we scream, after getting lost in this space, no one can hear you. And then we realize its vastness and understand how small we are. While living here on Earth, threats like asteroids and comets coming from space may seem like nightmares, so here's something to think about. The space thousands of light years away is another name for fear and terror. Sometimes these events are far beyond our simple human perspective, which we are not capable of understanding yet. So friends, we are about to start a series on terrifying, unexplained deep space mysteries, where we will share everything that exists in this mysterious universe, whose mysteries force us to question our own reality. So come on friends, let's begin our journey with the first episode of Terrifying Unexplained Deep Space Mysteries 1991 VG. It was the year 1991. American astronomer James Scotty was looking towards space. He was observing something specific when suddenly he saw a very strange object in the sky. But James had already studied that object thoroughly in his very first observation, so that he could predict when and where he would see that object next time. But the next time he turned his telescope in that direction, he didn't see anything there. He found this very strange because the standard assumptions he used to determine the object's speed and direction turned out to be wrong. Now what was wrong here? He started thinking that he had studied it thoroughly the last time. Then how could the calculations be wrong? He even cross-checked his calculations, but from his side, everything was absolutely perfect. Time passed, and one day, suddenly, that mysterious object appeared in the sky again. Now James combined both of his observations, and he realized that strange object. So, just like our Earth, it is orbiting the Sun in a similar orbit. It's impossible for any natural object to do this because Earth's gravity would disrupt its orbit over a long period and throw it out. So according to James, the best explanation for that mysterious object could be that it was used during the Cold War. It could be a remnant part of a big budget launch vehicle, like the second stage of the Saturn V rocket or some Russian hardware. It could be anything. Because we don't know which country launched which secret program during the Cold War. But James wanted to know everything about it, so he started plotting the path of that object in the backward direction. And he went back in time to around 1973 when that object was closest to Earth. But James didn't find it matching with any rocket launched at that time, and after that, the object was never seen again. So what exactly was that thing that James saw twice? Did it appear on its own, or did James see it by mistake? After that object disappeared, the whole incident and the object itself became a mystery. Was it some kind of alien space probe? There are many possibilities. What do you think, friends? Be sure to tell me in the comments. What do you think? Be sure to tell me in the comments. Black holes are really dangerous, and they are also one of the biggest mysteries of our universe. But if you want to make these black holes even more terrifying, just let them loose in this infinite space like a hungry wolf. And something like this happened with a very massive black hole. The incident was such that scientists couldn't understand why it was happening. This was in 2012. National Aeronautics and Space Administration noticed a very strange thing in the nearby galaxies, that there was a huge black hole which had been thrown out of its own galaxy. Now, it is wandering through space at a speed of millions of miles per hour. Now, it has no home or destination, but now just consider how big this black hole actually is. Astronomer Francisca Cavano, who led this entire study, says that this black hole could be more than 1,000,000 times bigger than our sun. But the galaxy threw it out as if it was nothing at all. It's like an ant picking up an elephant and throwing it out of the jungle. The same thing happened with this black hole. This thing was really scary for everyone. Some theories were put forward about this, about how it could have happened, and Vano and his team speculated about it. That is, one theory was put forward that two galaxies might be merging, and due to the influence of their gravitational waves, a black hole received a strong kick outward which caused it to leave from there. Another theory also emerged about the collision of three supermassive black holes. But the strange thing about this theory is that what we are seeing is that the black hole is leaving the system and going out. But actually, the opposite is true. That black hole is being pulled towards the two merging black holes. All the data we currently have about this traveling black hole supports the gravitational wave theory more. However, none of these theories are proven, nor are they completely accurate, and no single theory can explain this entire event properly. And seeing this, even scientists themselves get scared that if black holes millions of times bigger than our sun have no control in this universe, then we are very small. Black holes themselves are a mystery. Now, what else has come into this universe that is even making these black holes tremble? Truly, a black hole itself cannot be seen by anyone. If it's roaming freely in space like that, it's nothing less than a nightmare. The WOW signal is from the year 1977, when the Big Ear radio telescope at Ohio State University was listening to some signals coming from space. This telescope was built in 1963 with the purpose of listening to wideband radio emissions coming from stars. But just 10 years later, suddenly this telescope was taken over by the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, to use it for their work of searching for aliens. Now this telescope, Yanaki, the job of Big Ear was to search for some very specific narrowband signals which could indicate the presence of intelligent life. It was the 1970s at that time, and back then, the analysis of incoming radio signals by Yanaki wasn't very complex. For example, we used to only record the incoming frequency, the strength of the signals, and their bandwidth, but by 1977 we had become advanced enough that the operator could tell just by looking at a signal if they had captured something unusual, and that it was something we all needed to examine carefully. It was August of 1977. Astronomer Jerry Emmon captured it using the Big Ear telescope. He was looking at the printouts of signals from the past 2 days, and then suddenly he noticed something. He noticed a sequence of numbers, and since then that sequence became very famous. 6EQJ5, these might look like random numbers to you, but when these are combined with other data, they correspond to a 1420 megahertz signal. When Eamon saw this sequence on paper, he was completely surprised, and he circled this signal and wrote "wow" on the side, which reflected his reaction to this weird signal, and this "wow" became the name of the signal, the wow signal. After that, Eamon and other scientists kept searching for this signal again for years. Almost every telescope was pointed towards the Sagittarius constellation, but that signal came only once. After that, we never heard that signal again. At first, scientists tried to explain this signal with a simple explanation, but when studies ruled out aircraft, asteroids, reflectors, terrestrial signals, normal frequencies coming from space, and the bat phones of that time, scientists became alert. Because there was only one explanation that they just couldn't rule out in any way, and that was extraterrestrial intelligence. That is, those signals were sent to us by an alien civilization. So what did the wow signal actually mean? What were the aliens trying to say through the wow signal? We will bring a detailed video on this soon. You can find that video in the I button above and in the description box below. But for now, this signal remains an unsolved mystery for our science. In the next episodes, we'll discover some hidden dangers that impact us, often without our knowledge, taking us towards such a dark world where there is nothing but darkness. Friends, the mysteries here will never end because you are watching the exclusive series of documentary library, Terrifying Unexplained Deep Space. Mysteries, what do you think about it? Be sure to tell us in the comment section. Friends, if you like this video, be sure to like it and share it with your friends. For more such episodes, subscribe to our channel